Let me turn finally to the subject that has been in the headlines more than any other at Rutgers lately, and that is, of course, our football stadium. For the last 6 months or so, the administration and the Rutgers Board of Governors have been considering various plans for expanding the stadium in response to the heightened success of the team and of the program as a whole, the demand for season tickets that we currently cannot meet, and the demand for student tickets that we currently are having difficulty meeting. The plans went back and forth and zigged and zagged, but settled a month or so ago, November 1st to be exact, in meetings of the Business and Finance, Budget and Finance, and Buildings and Grounds Committee on a plan that would expand Rutgers Stadium in 2 ways at the cost of about $100 million. That involved putting some high-end seats, loge seats, and club seats, I believe they're called, at the mezzanine level on the east side of the stadium, not luxury boxes. They were discussed at an earlier point but ruled out. High-end seats on the mezzanine level of the east side, maybe 1,000 of them. And more important, the addition of 13,000 seats at the south end of the stadium. That's the scoreboard end of the stadium, where there are currently just temporary bleachers. If you complete the horseshoe, you can add about 13,000 seats. That's a huge project. It would, in any event, if it's to be done, it will have to be done over a 2-year period. The plan was to do the mezzanine stuff on the east side of the stadium first and begin the infrastructure work required to support the new stands in the south, and then complete them after another year. The vision for how to pay the $100 million was the following. Rutgers would issue $70 million in bonds to be paid off by revenues from the new seats in the enlarged stadium. We're pretty sure that the new club seats and loge seats in the east would throw off revenue. That is to say, would generate more dollars than they cost. And we're pretty sure that the 13,000 seats in the south stand would throw off some revenue, but not as much as they cost. And after many, many calculations, we believe, based on pretty conservative estimates, that a $70 million bond could be paid off over 30 years from the revenue from the stadium. And in fact, the spreadsheet showed a profit, if you will, or an excess of revenue over debt service by about year 1 or year 2. It wasn't even a real close call, and the estimates were fairly conservative. The other 30 million, 70 plus 30 equals 100, the other 30 million was to have come from the state of New Jersey. And we believed in good faith that we had a commitment to that, and we did. But the election results in early November turned that around. The narrow passage of the Green Acres bond issue and the defeat of the stem cell research bond issue convinced those in Trenton that the people of New Jersey had spoken pretty loudly, and they were not interested in accumulating a lot more debt. The debt to which I referred before would get even bigger. So the governor, rightly, I think, decided to pull back the proposed $30 million. And that, of course, left the stadium project in a very uncertain position. It was to have been voted on by the Board of Governors yesterday, but last week, for the reason I've just explained, we pulled it off the agenda, and no action was taken. In the meantime, the governor and Senator Lesniak made an extraordinary commitment to raise privately $30 million, and I'm sure most of you have read about this in the newspaper. That's actually a better deal for us than the other route. $30 million in private gifts would be better for at least 2 reasons than the $30 million, which was to have been in the form of a no-interest loan that Rutgers could pay off over whatever time was required from excess stadium revenues. But even if without interest, and even if you have a long time to pay off, a loan is a loan is a loan. You owe the money. It shows up on your balance sheet. The bond rating agencies take it into account when you try to borrow other money and all that. An outright gift of $30 million is much better than a loan. It's better for a second reason, too, and that's because the governor will no doubt tap perhaps former friends and allies on Wall Street, or whomever, people who would not otherwise be known to me or otherwise be giving money to Rutgers, and at least some of them may be weaned into our firmament thereafter. But the news of the plan to raise $30 million by the governor and Senator Lesniak came really too late for the board to assimilate. I myself am still assimilating. I don't know entirely what it means, to be honest. I'm very, very grateful for it. I appreciate the governor's attention to Rutgers and his generosity to Rutgers, but the board stepped back with my strong support to consider afresh the stadium project. There are lots of reasons for going forward with it, and my guess is that in some form or another we will. But we now have some time to think about it, both at the level of the administration and the board and the campus community. I know there's a tremendous interest in this project. Last Monday, 4 days ago, the student leadership of the university held a forum in the Student Activity Center on George Street for about 2 hours. About 100 students were present. Bruce Fain, the interim vice president and chief financial officer, director of athletics Bob Mulcahy, and senior associate athletic director Kevin McConnell made up a panel, each of whose members spoke briefly, and then we answered questions, mainly from students, for a couple of hours. I would welcome opportunities to have further campus discussions about the stadium and to answer the toughest questions that you have, or invite Bob Mulcahy to answer the toughest questions you have. It's a challenging time of year. It's December 7th. The end of the semester is upon us. The holidays follow, and then the first half of January, of course, the university is not in session, and there's no point in having a forum when faculty and staff and students are not here. So I haven't worked out fully, and I look forward to talking with you and Sam about how to arrange such opportunities for campus input into the stadium project and how to answer your questions about it. I'll do my best to answer questions today, but that's clearly, we clearly need more than that. That is an up-to-the-minute summary of the stadium project, and I'll stop my report on that note, and as I said before, answer your questions on subjects I've covered or anything else.